Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Come on, won't you say it loud? Ayo, we gon' turn this out. Tom Clark's Main Event.
Hey, what is up, kids? Welcome back to the program. Tom Clark here, back with you again on a Friday. Let me just tell you, man. First off, look at the beard. My God in heaven. This thing is taking on a life of its own. Look at that. Holy Lord. I have got to go get this thing trimmed. I don't own a beard trimmer. Somebody needs to buy me one. Christmas is coming. Dude, we're in the countdown. We're into the 12 days of Christmas now, man. Can you believe it? It is just around the corner. It is just around the corner. Someone's got to buy me a beard trimmer. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Good talk, Sandy. Sandy says technology difficulties. I'm looking good over here. How's everyone looking? How do I look to everybody right now? Except for being, in addition to being dashingly handsome. Look at this beard. Oh my God. Look at that. Oh, it's atrocious. It's atrocious. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm not one of those guys that enjoys the big full beard. I'm pretty sure we've been through this. I do not enjoy the big full beard. I can't imagine being a woman and having to navigate the way men look. Do you know what I'm saying? I just can't imagine. Like, I don't know how often we as men think about that in terms of what women are dealing with when they look at us. You know what I mean? Not shaving for days, weeks, months, years even. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not a woman, so I guess I don't get it. I guess I don't understand. Yeah. Fernando says that's a good manly beard. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. Oh, I feel like I'm shedding. That's another part about when you've got the beard, you got the dry skin. Yeah. And I don't do like the wife's been on to me about that beard, like beard lotion and oil and stuff. Like, what am I, waxing a car? What are we doing here? Let me get the buffer. I'll get the right. What are we talking about? Oil your beard. Are you what? No. You know what I do? I wash the beard as I wash myself. Talking about oil, lotion, and what are we talking about? Let me get a mop bucket, take it to it. I don't know what we mean by that. Let me it's just ridiculous. As I said, typical freaking man, right? Let me adjust this just a tick. Not should be right about there. The green screen is always fun. If you're only listening to the audio, you don't know what's going on. But the green screen sometimes can be a little difficult to navigate. Let's say some hellos here. Ray, I hope you're still hanging out with us, man. You were number 2 to the table. Sandy was here first. What's going on? Thanks, Sandy, for sharing. I appreciate you. Fernando, happy Friday to you. E is here. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, AE, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate it. Please don't do. I can't read that. It's too hard. Woo, that hit me out of nowhere. Yeah, it's so her birthday was December 3rd. Might as well be a man, right? Her birthday was December 3rd, and it kind of came and went. And I didn't post anything. I probably should have, but I didn't. And I just I don't know, man. As I said, it just kind of came and went. And yesterday came. Yesterday did not come and go. Yesterday came and it lingered. And it lingered and it lingered some more. And it sucked. And my eyes are killing me today. That's not helping anything. And then so my apologies. I look like death warmed over, I'm sure. Anyway, I appreciate you. Thanks, everybody. Guys, if you will, please and thank you, share this in your feed. Share the podcast wherever you can, this live video here today. Remember to subscribe on the YouTube and to follow us on the boinkstudios.com, BOINK, boinkstudios.com. I'm about to turn this light down. And when I do, it's going to get a little dark in here. So my apologies. But yeah, I can't. Whew. The light is very vicious for me today. So my apologies. I may try to bear with me here just a minute. Oh, that's not good. Makes you look like an apparition. That may have to do. Yeah, because I can't. The light is freaking intense on me right now. So he says the mayor in his city has appointed him to Streetscape Advisory Committee because he was the only one to apply. Hey, look, here's what I'll tell you. At least you got it, right? They could have told you no. Apologies, kids, for the man. Yeah. Anyway, people who have never watched before go tune in and go, who is this clown with the hair and the eye? What is happening here? Anyway, again, kids, if you will share this on your feed, I would greatly appreciate it. And we will power through here as we always tend to do. The boy's good, Ray. He is working tonight, getting off at 10 o'clock tonight. So I'm going to go pick him up. He is driving, but he doesn't have his license yet. He really wants it, but insurance, money, you need money, right? So that's not happening. I do not, Sandy. The only podcasters I hang out with are the guys that I record with, Jay and Joe and Phil and Chris, all the guys that I'm not above making friends and hanging out and talking to folks, but I haven't made friends in a while. I don't tend to keep to myself. Here's what I'll tell you. I've had my head down this entire day. I've had my head down working. I've just been crazy busy. I'm about to turn this light out. What happens if I turn the light out? Oh, that's crazy. Oh my, this may be an interesting show. We will see what happens. Let's get into, by the way, everybody, I appreciate you guys sharing this on your feed. Thanks for hitting the like button for me. That means a lot to me too. And wherever you are, share this with the cautionary message of watch out for the guy on the camera. He looks like he's getting ready to turn into a werewolf. I'm at like stage 2 of the werewolf change. You guys remember the Lon Chaney bit from the 50s, how they did I think that may be Dr. Hyde, Mr. Hyde, where they had like the plates and they were doing the change. And you talk about special effects back when there was no such thing as special effects. Freaking nuts, man. Good classic stuff. All right, let's talk about headlines. Let's quit talking about me because I'm boring. Let's talk about stuff you guys want to talk about. One of the biggest things, this is just happening, I think, within the past 24 hours, maybe today, actually. There is word going around that Tessa Blanchard is heading back to TNA. So she is officially gone from CMLL. Their women's tag team championships have been vacated. And it's being reported on the Observer that Blanchard has signed back with TNA. Quote, the belief is Tessa has signed here, which explains her not being in CMLL the last few weeks. The belief is that she'll debut in Atlanta, do a quick program with Jordan Grace, with Grace then leaving for WWE when her current contract expires, end quote. We shall see. We've talked about Tessa a whole bunch. And we've talked about, the fact that she essentially took what was a very promising career and screwed it up. And everybody's human. And this idea of everybody deserves a second chance. A second chance. I can't disagree with that to a certain extent. But you guys know what Tessa's, said and what she was heard saying and what she was, it's people. Some people may look at that as ancient history. The major companies have not. WWE and AEW have not considered that to be ancient history for whatever reason. And I'm not sitting here saying I got backstage news because I don't. Not on this, but I will tell you that it's again, don't crap where you eat, as the saying goes. You know what I mean? And she absolutely did do that. Fernando says, I think it's great news. I don't think what she did is unforgivable. I think that depends on your point of view. I think that entirely depends on your point of view. I would think that one instance of something, is that forgivable? Then yeah, I would think so. But when you have more than once and it's a pattern of behavior, a pattern of behavior is tough. It's like the Hogan thing. You know what I mean? If he'd been caught saying something one time, that would be different. But a pattern of behavior, when there's more than one comment, when there's more than one action, when there's more than one cringeworthy moment, right? That becomes a pattern. And when there's a pattern of behavior, that's the problem. And that's just me talking. People can take that or leave it. It's entirely up to you. Some people love her. Some people love her. Ray, I won't get into it here on the show, but you are free to Google it, my friend, and see. It wasn't awesome, the stuff that she said, let's put it that way. And I've said for the past several years, there is a very, very good reason, okay, that AEW and WWE didn't lay hands on her. I'll leave it at that. I don't wish her ill. I don't know the lady, okay? And if she can come back and and redeem herself to some degree and do better, be a better person, you know what? Who am I to say she can't do those things? But as they say, we will see how all this plays out, right? Let's see what else is going on. We do have Saturday night's main event coming tomorrow. We will talk about that here in just a scooch. I thought we would just get some things knocked out here in the beginning. Let's see here, boy. How are you guys feeling about the AEW stuff lately? How are you feeling about the Cruiserweight Classic? Because, buddy, let me tell you something. There's been some excellent freaking matches here, man. Excellent matches. There's some stuff coming up for tomorrow on Coliseum. Kazuchika Okada versus the Beast Mortos. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. Hey, I think we kind of know how. We suspect we know. Chris Patton, shout out to Chris. Chris been on the show many times, and as recently as last week was talking about, he did, in his opinion, that this wasn't flying in this country because the fans in this country don't know what to do with these rules, and the fans in Japan are very accustomed to it. I argued against that, but we all have our own opinions. It's perfectly fine. But we were talking about it, and it's like, I don't think anybody can dispute that tournaments have the ability to deliver some great matches, which is what I think we've seen already here today. But here's what I'll tell you in reference to Chris, us talking about it, is that I will agree to a certain extent, because in this country, most of the time when they do this Cruiserweight Classic thing, I'm not going to say every single time, don't take that. But, sometimes, most of the time, maybe 75, 80% of the time, you can call who's going to win. In New Japan, you can't do that. When they run those tournaments over there, you can't call it. And if you follow that wrestling over there, man, you know what I mean. You can't follow. You can't sometimes call. Like, who in the world would have called Kyle Fletcher and Okada? Boy, I'll tell you something, man. They are tying their wagon to Fletcher. They're heating that guy up. This is a prime example of, we're creating a star. You know what I mean? We're creating a star. We're taking a guy to the next level. We're rocket strapping him, for lack of a better term. Right now, total points, Kyle Fletcher with 9, Garcia with 4, Okada with 4, Benjamin and Briscoe with 3, Ospreay, Ricochet, and Claudio all with 6, Darby and Brody with 3. There you go, kids. There's your updated standings. Here's something else we can talk about. Let's see. Ray says AEW has had some awesome matches. I totally agree. I enjoy it. I know it gets some criticism here and there, but I enjoy the Continental Classic, man. Fernando says Continental Classic is fire. Absolutely loving it. I really enjoy it, yeah. Fernando says, I hate to be this person, but if this country can elect who they did for president, why not let Tessa have her career come back? Hey, Fernando, I suspect that there are people who watch and listen to my show who don't vote the way I do. I got very, very specific, very, very strong feelings on how I think everything went with this previous election. To say I was disappointed is beyond an understatement. Beyond an understatement. Ray says, is it me or does Kyle look bigger since he cut his hair? I think it's an aesthetic thing, but yeah, he's definitely bulking up. There's no doubt about it. Hitting the protein power. Beefcake. Fernando says, I think Okada's going to take it all. I think it's Fletcher's to win. You might be right. I love me some Okada. Y'all know that. There's no doubt about that, man. Fletcher, I was going to say Fletcher's winning me over. Fletcher won me over a long time ago. Fletcher's excellent. I mean, if anybody needed further proof of how great Fletcher is, just look at that. Look at that match he had with Ospreay, man. Eric Jackson in the house. What's up, my friend? Let's talk about something else that happened this past Wednesday on the Dynamite. The return of Toni Storm with that god-awful music and that weird black eye makeup underneath her right eye, which I have no idea. I know there's a backstory. I've never looked it up. I'm going to miss the other Toni Storm. But I hand it to her for changing it up. I kind of would like to have seen a different character this time. And it becomes like the Three Faces of Eve kind of thing. You know what I mean? But it's okay, I guess, that she went back to the original. Although I hate that music. I hate it. I freaking can't stand it. I'm a music guy when it comes, well, with everything. But when it comes to the pro wrestling shtick, I'm a flat out music guy, man. Like if it's not good, if it don't work for me, it makes me nuts. Makes me nuts. He says, did I get my cat Patrick anything for Christmas? Of course, he's been good. We usually get the dog a new chew toy, and we'll get the cat some new balls, like the little jingle balls, like roll around on the floor. God, they love those things. Prius especially. My goodness. Love those things. Prius will carry them around in her mouth. We'll wake up in the mornings and find little poof balls and little jingle balls all over the floor, like we're living with toddlers. You know what I mean? It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. Fernando says AEW Women's Division needs her back badly. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say badly. She's fantastic. But God, they've got so many talented women. Sky Blue is on the comeback trail, I know. So, you know, we'll see how all that pans out. I hope to goodness that this time around they figure out what in the world they're doing with her, because it just felt like it was just so haphazard. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but at any given time, I was like, wait a minute, what is Sky Blue supposed to be this week? I'm not getting into the heel and face stuff because it doesn't matter anyway. Doesn't matter anyway. Not in that company. Really, not in any company anymore. Let's see what else is happening. I'm just giving you some quick hits right now, kids. Bronson Reed has undergone surgery to repair that broken foot. Turns out when you're like 350, maybe you shouldn't be coming off the top of the cage. Yowza. Hey, look. When you compare a dude walking around versus a big dude coming off the top of a cage, I'll give you two guesses as to which dude's going to be in better shape, and the first guess doesn't count. Hey, man, go ask Adam Copeland if it was a good idea to come off top of that cage. He'll tell you quick. Really quick. It was unfortunate, Sandy. Things happen. Rebecca says, hi, Rebecca. Do I think I had an ex named Rebecca? Nice girl. I see her around occasionally on Facebook. Sometimes I think about saying hi just because I'm nice, but I haven't seen her spoke to in years. You guys have like exes that it ends okay with? Because I've had some that didn't, let me tell you. But I've had some that were fine. I have no idea where all that came from, by the way. But yeah, nice girl. Anyway, where were we? Yes, unfortunate injuries happen. What do they say? This ain't ballet, right? Well, they're right about that. Yeah, all the best to Bronson. Speedy recovery. Hope he's back sooner rather than later. Sooner rather than later. What else going on in the WWE world? The civil lawsuit from Janelle Grant and her people against Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis was paused for 6 months. And it is unpaused. It is back on track now. Back on track. Sexual assault and trafficking during her time at WWE. Look, I don't know what the truth is. But I'll tell you what, if you walk into a room and you can't see for the smoke, something might be on fire. Or you're at a pro wrestling show and the pyros just went nuts. And even then, something was just on fire. Right. That's what I'll say to you today is that, if I walk into a room filled with smoke and I can't see, something may be on fire. That's all. Belinda, I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for hanging out with us. Kids, again, if you have not smashed the like button, please do that for me today. That would be awesome. We've got World's End coming up soon. We also have Ring of Honor coming up next Friday. So we'll see. Final battle. We're going to have Matt Cardona versus Chris Jericho. He is, yeah. You know what? Look, I love me some Cardona. You talk about a guy who's reinvented himself. I mean, I guess he has. He's basically kind of the same guy. He's got the beard and the hair, you know what I mean? Like he did change, but he didn't. It's kind of like, here's Nemeth. It looks just like Dolph Ziggler. Nah, I don't call him that anymore. But here he is. And you're like, nothing changed. What, are you kidding me? But props to Cardona, man, for, not I think he took the best of the Zack Ryder character and he fleshed it out and made it into something different, which is, I think, all you can expect for somebody that was on the national stage at WWE, because you don't want to lose what made you popular and you don't want to lose what people liked, but you also want to embellish and enhance and to evolve, right? Which is, I think, what he's managed to do. And I think he's done very, very well for himself. I don't think anybody would argue that. If you've argued that, I don't know what you're talking about. Fernando says, very excited about the return of Jason Ventura and the winged world title belt. Boy, let me tell you something right now. That Cody Rhodes makes stuff happen. He's been wanting that winged eagle belt back for years, has that Cody Rhodes. And now it looks like they're going to listen to him. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I've always been a big fan of Cody, and I love that he's doing well. And I got to tell you something. I was talking to Phil the other day. Shout out Phil Lindsay this past Wednesday night we did the 6M podcast. And look, it's the month of December, so we're doing Christmas all year long all month long on the 6M. This past Tuesday, by the way, we put out Batman Returns, which we do consider a Christmas movie here. And this coming Tuesday, we're putting out Scrooged. And the week after will be our Christmas episode of the 6M podcast. Will be a live watch along of Die Hard. Not live for you, a live watch along that we're going to record and then publish the week of Christmas. So enjoy that. But I was talking to Phil, and we're talking about, let me just tell you something, to be honest with you. We really, when we go into things, man, we really go into them. And we'll talk for like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours or more before we actually hit the record button. We didn't do that this past Wednesday because we wanted to get to the show. And plus I had a hard out at 8, but most of the time, man, we really do talk it up. He's a great dude, and I consider him a friend, and I enjoy talking to him. And we've always got great stuff happening between the two of us. So always good. But anyway, we were talking. I got sidetracked. My bad. We were talking the other night, and he made a great point. He's like, the WWE's business, you can point to when Cody came back is when things began to go on the uptick, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And Cody had a massive hand in it. I think Punk also had a hand in it, but I would, for me, I lay it at Cody's feet first. Honestly, good for him. Fernando says Cody's a great politician backstage. Well, maybe. Yeah. I just think he's a great worker, and he's got a great mind for the business. We had done Hum Along actually 3 years ago for the Christmas episode. 2 or 3. Yeah, that was the Christmas episode. It's in the archives. Tom Clark 6M podcast. I'll do watch along. Oh, sure, Ray. Yeah. Listen, Ray, I started doing work with a digital marketing agency back in September. And I had to meet those deadlines, man. Let me just tell you. So I usually have my head down all day, content writing and creating graphics and whatnot and video. So yeah, I'm just busy. I'm just busy all the time, man. I mean, you see, I didn't promote the show here today. I just 30 minutes out said, "Oh, here we're coming at 4:00. Don't miss it," because I'm an idiot and didn't take time to do it. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And it says a big fan of Phil and Reg. Yeah, Grapsity. Shout out to Grapsity, by the way. Those guys are crushing it. Reg and Phil, those guys are crushing it, man. So, all right, you guys wanted to talk about the main event. Let's talk about the main event, and we'll get your thoughts on it here and see what you guys think about it. Yeah, it's coming up, as we said, Saturday. And right now there's 5 matches happening. Here we go. Bailey or Chelsea Green versus Michin. Terrible. Freaking terrible. I don't care. Come at me. Terrible. One thing you can count on in the world of pro wrestling, some of the dumbest names you've ever freaking heard of. Michin. Stop. It's like a Pokemon. And I'm not into Pokemon, but if there was a character called Michin, I'd say, yeah, of course there is. I don't know. Don't anybody be telling me she wanted that name and she loves it and it's her grandmother's name. I don't care. I still hate it. I'm allowed to hate things. It's Christmas after all. Where was I? Tournament final for the inaugural WWE Women's United States Championship. Well, we'll see how that goes. Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. Gunther Walter versus the Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. Triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. And, of course, Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed WWE Championship against Kevin "By God" Owens. So there you go. When you said the old school stage, you know what I thought of, Sandy? The big SmackDown fist. Remember that? The big SmackDown fist? That was the coolest thing. You know what? It was just cartoony enough to appeal to kids, but it was also, sort of video game enough for it to appeal to dudes, which is really all they're ever trying to do in pro wrestling is appeal to kids and dudes. Pro wrestling for kids and dudes. And if you're a woman and you enjoy it, that's awesome. The more women, the better. Fernando says me as bear. Oh, yeah. Sandy says, Sandy got a hot take. Says Owens is going to win. I completely disagree. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. That's the great and terrible thing about pro wrestling is that anything can happen. Rebecca says Michin is a good wrestler, but has been not given the right opportunities to show her worth. Boy, we hear that all the time, don't we? In every company on the planet. All the time. Isn't that something? Yeah, all the time. About many, many talents. Speaking of Rhodes and Owens, they will speak on WWE SmackDown tonight. We will see what happens there. Let's see here. Former champions return, part of a full AEW Collision lineup. Tony Storm, that is, as we said before, coming back. And, I'm interested to hear the promos. I want to know what she says. That's what I'll tell you about this. I want to know what she says because I can't wait. You know what I'd like to have happen? I'd like for her to not even acknowledge. I don't even want her to acknowledge the other gimmick. I just want her to make out like she's been injured this whole time and she's been working hard to get back. Look, if you're going to go with silly, go knee deep in silly. Go neck deep in silly. Go all the way in, both feet in the bed on silly. You know what I mean? Why not? It's pro wrestling. It doesn't matter anyway. And she's so good, isn't she? She's freaking great, man. I say go all in on the silly. That's what I want. Absolutely. Yeah. But we'll see. Before we go any farther, kids, we are 37 minutes in. I'd like to show you a little something. And, it goes Well, it goes like this.
Boink Studios is the home of Tom Clark's main event, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Visit the site today for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Check out the site and bookmark today, boinkstudios.com.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You're welcome. Hey, yeah. So boinkstudios.com, kids. It's pretty well up to date. If you guys have followed the Boink Studios company, the production company owned by myself, then first of all, thank you. Second of all, I appreciate it. Number 3, sometimes I just ramble. Number 3, it is pretty up to date, and I do the best I can. But if you've been following it, you will know right now today that our third podcast, 3 out of the 4, Two Nations Under Ted Lasso podcast ended 2 weeks ago. And that's right, kids. We completed it. Now, I don't have any scoops for you on a season 4, but I can tell you that certain cast members are accepting roles with other projects, which is never a good sign if you're hoping your favorite show is coming back. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. Fingers crossed. If it doesn't come back, it's great. I mean, it's fine because the show ended perfectly, and it's a beautiful show. And I'm just mad about it. And I hope you guys loved the podcast. I loved doing it along with Jay and Joe, and I miss doing it. If I'm being real. So yeah, if it never comes back, it's fine because it's a beautiful time capsule of a wonderful show. If it does come back, I got my fingers crossed that they nail it, and hopefully they will. Fernando says Finn doesn't deserve this world championship match. Nothing personal, but who has he beat? I keep forgetting he's a tag team champ. Finn Balor. I'm just saying. I mean, I get it, but you also have to remember, as much as we talk about things like that, Fernando, as much as we talk about things like that, these belts aren't real. I mean, they're real to us because the people who hold the belts, we care about those people. But you know, at the end of the day, they just they're going to put the best matches they can think of on the card to get the most attention in hopes that people watch. And I'm with you. There's many times I'll sit back and even on the show and said so-and-so maybe shouldn't have or should have an XYZ fill in the blank, yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, I'm like, I have to remind myself sometimes it's about putting on the best show possible. And if they've done their job and done everything correctly, then the talents who have earned those spots, per se, are getting to those spots organically, and then it happens, and they're big enough and have enough of a push, have enough spotlight where they can get up, booked on that card and just crush it. But you and I and everybody here knows that doesn't always work out like that. Sandy says Chelsea Green is my pick to win the Women's U.S. Championship. I like the idea of the belt. I like Chelsea. Becky says Owens will lose and blame everyone and flip out on everyone and end up getting suspended. Could be. Could be. Fernando says Tony return should be on Dynamite, not a dead show. Well, Fernando, as we just said, think about how you phrase that. I mean, if Dynamite is one of your shows and you don't want it to be a dead show, put a return on Dynamite. I'm not disagreeing with you, but again, like to your point, not an awesome show in terms of anybody actually watching it. So put something big on there. Now, will it work out? I don't know. I bet they'll see a bump, but it may not be that much. I get your point, but I also see the other side of it too. Sandy says Owens wins, but via DQ, so no title change. Sandy's asking about a Tiffy cash-in on Saturday. What you guys think about that? Is she going to cash in Saturday or what? Maria's watching from the YouTube today. What's up, Maria? What's up, Robbie? Vice signed Dark Side of the Ring to another season. Mick Foley's rumored to have an episode. What would you like to see on an episode that they haven't done yet? Robbie, let me be straight with you. I watched many episodes of that show. I think I've, how do I say this? I've talked about this here on the show. I think I'm at a point right now where I'm kind of past it. Here's what I mean by that. There's a lot of deep, dark, sordid history in pro wrestling. You guys know that. There's a lot of stuff they've talked about, a lot of stuff they haven't talked about, right? But here's what I'll say, man. This is for me talking anyway. this idea that, that there's, again, gosh, how do I say this and make it sound diplomatic? This idea that people want to see the worst. They just want to see the worst of it. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about in general. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll turn on Hulu, and at the very top, it's a serial killer. It's yet another series on a serial killer. It's like all the time. The grisly, blah, blah, blah. The murderous, blah, blah. At the very top of the banner. And I'm like, I know why it's up there. Number one, it's the newest thing of the moment. They're encouraging their viewers to watch it, and or it's getting hits and getting downloads and getting view time, so they put it up there. That's where we are. Like, I think we look for the worst in people, and I think we want to see the worst things happen. So we're attracted. It's like a car accident. You know what I mean? By the way, have you ever been in traffic? No, no one has, Tom. No one drives. How many times have you been in traffic? Put it that way. And there's an accident up ahead, and everybody and their brother has slowed down, and you're sitting there going, go, press the gas. I got to get where I'm going. You know, that's kind of where I'm at. More power to them. I've heard the guys behind the show in interviews. They seem like good dudes. They seem like they're doing it for the right reasons. They don't seem like they're trying to cash in or anything. What do I know? Maybe they are. But they're fans themselves. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't hate the premise. It's just, I don't know how much of it I need to see anymore. I don't know. I'm sorry I didn't answer your question. Maybe I kind of did. Ray says, you happy Cole beat Kyle O'Reilly? I was going to say I feel bad for Kyle. I can't feel bad for a guy that's featured on national television every week. So it's kind of weird to say I feel bad for him. I think Kyle's fantastic in the ring. And I think he is such a great technician. And I think he can do just about anything. So I enjoy watching him work. But when he was in WWE, when he's here, I don't know. I was going to say there's something missing, but I don't know what that even means. This guy's been wrestling for a long time. And sometimes I'll make these big, broad, sweeping statements about, I believe so-and-so is missing something. and not be able to actually define what that means. And it's me in North Carolina, little tiny me. I'm that big. And you know what I mean? Like, so what's it matter what I think, right? But at the same time, like with Kyle, it always feels like he's missing something. Maybe I'm wrong. What is the most overrated finishing move done today? No question, the super kick. I am past it. I'm over it. It's beautiful when it's hit correctly, but it doesn't mean anything anymore. It just doesn't mean anything anymore at all. You know, at all. Used to. Remember when super kicks meant the end of the match? That ended 20 years ago, didn't it? I don't know. Maybe that's my very, very quick answer to that question that I took no time to think about. Yeah, so look, next week you're going to see the Santa hat. Okay, next week going to be the Christmas episode. Santa Tom in the house. And we're going to be talking about AEW Final Battle, and we'll be having fun on that show. I may even have some Christmas goodies. Everybody brings something. Everybody's expected to bring a covered dish to the main event next week. All right? Covered dishes to the main event next week. I'm making brownies. I make some killer brownies. I make what I call the pass out brownie. You know why? Because you take a bite, you pass out. It's real simple. It ain't hard to understand. You're in the floor. All you need is enough room to fall down in. That's all. The best thing to do is sit down on the floor as you're eating the brownie and then have pillows laid out because you're going to pass out. And everybody I make that joke to when they eat my brownie, you know what they do? They pass out. But first they say, oh my God, it's like a religious experience. The Virgin Mary and whatnot popping up out of nowhere. Tom, and like the angels, little cherubs and stuff coming down. Tom, these brownies they're decadent. They're magnificent. They're capital. They're pristine. How much more time you got? Welcome to Tom Clark's Baking Show. It's the Christmas Bake Off. Sandy, do you make German Christmas candy? You know what we got to do one of these days, Sandy? We got to do like a care package, man. I send you some stuff and you send me some stuff. We've been talking about doing that with me and the guys, Jay and Joe. E says Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie. E, you can see yourself out the door. How dare you, Sandy Klein? I'm not Sandy, excuse me. Sandy, you're awesome. How dare you, Elvis Martinez, if that is your real name? Die Hard, not a Christmas movie. Listen, leave that negativity out of here. Don't you put that bad mojo on me, Ricky Bobby. I'm telling you right now, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. You're going to find out. We're going to do it next week on the 6M, and you're going to watch it, and you're going to love it, too. Robbie says, it's okay. I kind of understand not wanting to see the worst when it comes to wrestling. I guess I watch both sides of the story, but like you, I'd still like to see the A&E side, but still catch Vince's side, too. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I agree. And it says, what's your favorite Christmas dish? Well, I make candy all month long. I've been making candy since November, like the dipping chocolate and stuff. And I do like the red Oreos, like the red cream Oreos, dip those in chocolate and sprinkles. And I'll do the peanut butter Ritz crackers. And then I'll bake cookies and stuff. My favorite Christmas dish. Good heavens. Well, for Thanksgiving, it's pecan pie and pumpkin pie for sure. I don't know what I would say for Christmas, man. I don't know. I got a lot of favorites. I got too many favorites, right? My waistline will tell you that. My waistline will tell you that. It's a good question. Probably sweets, I would say. Terrible answer. I do like ham. I like sweet ham. I don't know where that's going. So, yeah. Man, we're opening that floor really way early today. Is there anything else you guys want to hit on today before we open the floor? Anything at all, kids. We still have, by my clock, 15 till an hour mark. And we want to do at least an hour. Here's one. Triple H has brought up potential WWE career to Goldberg's son, Gage. I don't know why this is a headline. I thought this was just going to happen regardless. I never understood. I don't know why this is making any kind of news at all, because I thought this was a given. That kid was raised up around this business. You know what I mean? Like, or at least in the past several years, being a close to it or whatnot. He's a freshman walk-on for the University of Colorado football team as we speak, so it could be a while before anything like this were to happen. So we'll see. He and Triple H are pretty happy with each other. He likes the guy a lot. I don't know, man. So, yeah, he was interviewed by Bill Apter. Bill Apter's asked if Hunter had told Gage to give him a call if he's ever interested in pursuing a career in the ring. He says, yes, sir. So there you go. We'll see what happens. You gotta imagine if it were to happen that he would absolutely be there, that they would throw any amount of money they could at him to get him. And I mean, you could understand why. Fernando, to my knowledge, one of the sons is training. Maybe they both are, but I thought one of Sting's sons for sure was training, but I can't remember which one we're talking about. Cannot remember which one we're talking about, but I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I thought I'd heard a month or two back that was indeed the case. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, Merry Christmas to you, Marie. Thank you very much for tuning in. Everybody go check out Peaches and Power Bombs, where they don't have beards. This thing is atrocious. Look at it. There's birds going to move in at some point, man. I'm going to like put bookshelves in there. Jeez Louise. I got to get this thing taken care of. It's freaking nuts. Well, guess what's going to happen here, kids? Hold on. The floor is wide open. There we go. This is your opportunity to hit me with any question or comment or word of wisdom that you may have. And I guarantee you, I won't answer anything. No. I guarantee you I'll answer things that aren't weird and then aren't too intrusive. And everybody has to be pretty. My great grandmother used to say. She'd tell us to be pretty with each other. Yeah. So everybody has to play nice. Be nice to each other, right? Be excellent to each other. Da 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 da. Fernando says, "Do you think both WWE and AEW getting carried away with so many titles? It's possible." I had this discussion with Chris Patton, who is firmly on the side of there's too many belts in every company. But I'm weird about it. I'm not trying to be a contrarian, which I had a friend recently point out maybe I am. Which I said, no, I'm not. It's a good joke. But I don't know. But here's what I'll tell you. I don't really bump into it all that much. I love belts. I'm a belt guy. I enjoy it. I like championship matches. Do I think it's too many? Meh. I mean, if you have 10 matches and 8 matches were for titles, that's probably too many titles. But that's just me talking. I'm okay with it. Sandy says, I'm getting a beard trimmer for Christmas. Well, you never can tell. Robbie says, fudge, candy canes, or fruitcake. Which would you eat, share, or give to your least favorite relative? Well, everybody's giving away that fruitcake. No one wants the fruitcake, right? I'd share the candy canes, but I'm eating the fudge. Stay away from my fudge. Ray all day done cover me up. Look at you. Pete Rock and CL Smooth or NWA? Oh, that's too hard. I'll go, I'm feeling a certain kind of way today. I'll go Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Part 2, De La Soul, Tribe. I got to go Tribe. And if Adam Cole invited you to the Adam Cole Christmas store where they had various gifts, gift wrapping paper, Christmas ornaments, and assorted Christmas items, and he said you could have something free, what would you take? I think it depends on what he has. I need a new ornament for my tree. How about that? I'll take a new ornament for my tree. And said your friend could come and have a free gift too. Would you please call me for sure? Later, wanted to get dinner, which included barbecue brisket, basket of fries, and a delicious slice of sweet potato pie. Could I join as well? Absolutely. Fernando says, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. Yes. I can't do that. You can't make me do that. How about this? Without Richard, there's no Eddie. And there's no 500 other comedians and actors. That's the truth. Male and female, I'd say. Without Richard, there's no Eddie. So you got to say Richard. Beck says, do you think they will bring back more titles? That'd be like the title 24/7 or Cruiserweight title. That 24/7 belt was fun for about 24 hours, and then it was no longer fun, at least for me. I think, Rebecca, the easy answer for that is the most basic answer, which is whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it, and whatever they see value in. And if they think it'll get ratings or get attention or entertain people, they're going to do it. My answer is, I don't know why they would want to do it, but hey, that's them, right? I think anything's possible. He says, how did you live most of your life without knowing me? Did I make this podcast more entertaining? Man, everybody here is awesome. Everybody here is awesome. Sandy said, how's Villa doing? We don't have to talk about it. I was following really, really religiously until I wasn't, because as I said to Ray earlier in the show, I have my head down every day working. So I'm not being able to invest the watching time I need to invest in order to enjoy or not enjoy some Aston Villa. I'm not even sure where I checked last week, but I'm not sure where they are right now. Let's by the way, Sandy, is City still dropping? Are they? All right. Liverpool is still the Kings at the moment, at the top slot in the Premier League standings. Chelsea number 2, Arsenal number 3, Man City's at number 4. I mean, they're at number 4. They're not out of the hunt here, kids. Aston Villa's number 6. I'm just saying. Number 6, they're in the top 10. That's all I can hope for. Jay's Newcastle, they're struggling a bit. They're in the 12th slot. So, yeah. Brentford, not sure how Brentford got to the number 9 spot. Cons Club, Fulham is number 10. So, at least they're in the top 10. If you were governor of the great state of North Carolina, what would you do in your first 100 days? Well, I think we've had a really good governor here. I think Roy Cooper's done a really, really good job. And I like the guy coming in next. I think he's going to do well. He's going to do good as well. I don't know, man. I have a hard time answering questions like that because I don't know how it works. You would be able to answer that for yourself a lot easier than I can answer it for myself. I think something has to be done about prices. And I don't want to get too far deep in the weeds into it here. But a certain person campaigned on promising everything to everybody, including dropping prices. Did you hear his comments 2 days ago? Now all of a sudden he can't. I'm like, did anyone on the planet believe anything? Are you high? How much of this were people doing? Like, I just can't. It just blows my mind, Jack. Blows my mind, right? As I said when it happened, we're all going to find out together. Those of us who didn't vote for the guy and everybody that did, we'll all find out together, and we're not going to like what we see. They're already starting to find out. Go check the most Googled terms on the night of the election and the day after, and you'll see what I mean. That's all the politics I'll get into here. That's it. My thoughts on the DIY and New Day heel turn. DIY turning heel means absolutely nothing to me. And I think Ciampa and Gargano are fantastic. But Ciampa turning heel, today's Friday. I don't know what else you want me to say. I don't have a reason to be upset about it because it's weird to be. But I don't know. It's odd for me. In my opinion, it's odd. But that's just to me. That's no one else talking. You can't deny the chemistry they have against each other and together. So why not just XYZ? Yeah. But at the same time, I've seen that so many times. And like, I don't think I care about it anymore. And I love both those guys. It's nothing personal. It's just the character stuff and the angle. I'm not here for it. I just don't care for it. Because I've seen it and it doesn't mean anything to me. You know, well, he's acting mean. He's acting about, well, I don't know what's going on. Well, guess what? I like it. I'm going to do it too. Let's steal the belts, or, let's do something shady and win the belts. Now we're both mad and ticked off all the time. Roar. I don't know. Sometimes if you really start to boil this stuff down, it's some of the silliest stuff you've ever seen in your life. I have wherewithal to know that what I'm watching most of the time is the silliest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Do I still enjoy it? Of course I do. Better song, Rudolph or Frosty the Snowman. You know how you know they're both good? Is I immediately can sing them off the top of my head, every single word. I think Rudolph is great because Rudolph, that song is a call and response song. Because you can do the chorus and people do the response back to you and you can have fun with it. Rebecca says, wish they would bring back NXT UK and do others in different countries. The different styles are interesting. Rebecca, I think it's a fine idea and one that they've wanted to implement for years, but I think that they've had issues doing it. Pro wrestling at its very roots was people think it's tribalistic now, but let me tell you, back in the day, tribalistic couldn't even cover what pro wrestling was. Territorial, very, very territorial. You know what I mean? You didn't set foot in certain towns. You just didn't do it because you wouldn't be able to make any money. And if you did show up in town, you were risking bad stuff with the local promotion. And now put that on a much bigger level where guys are maybe going to not draw as much money next Saturday night because you decided to come to town and screw with them. Well, that's not going to be good. That one ain't good for anybody. So I think a lot of that's what's happening. And look, some I don't know. It's WWE is the MTV of pro wrestling. For better or worse, MTV is still a thing. MTV still exists. MTV is still probably worth billions of dollars. Still seen all over the country, all over the world. Still, I'm sure profitable. I don't know for sure, but I suspect they're profitable. Still a brand. It's known, recognized throughout the world. Done a lot for, and they've got like 2 or 3 channels, at least MTV2. I don't know if it's still a thing. But to me, WWE is the MTV of pro wrestling. It's, it used to be known for pro wrestling. It was pro wrestling. Now it's some pro wrestling dabbed in with a lot of other stuff, and they got a lot of sponsors to keep happy, and there's investors, and it's I was gonna say commercialized, but you guys know what I mean. A lot of shine to it. It's very glossy. It's very shiny. It's very and I keep getting told that the product is fantastic now. I'm not arguing any of that, but I also know that when you are the New York Yankees, you're not going to look like AAA ball team in North Carolina. You know what I mean? You don't, because you don't need to, and you're not going to. So you won't be playing the game exactly the same. And you won't look the same or sound the same or carry yourself the same, right? So that's kind of where I'm at right there with that. Sorry to rant. Fernando says, do you think the Hurt Syndicate has better creative direction than the Death Riders? I don't think there is creative direction in that company, Fernando. I think it's Tony telling them what he would like to have, and the guys talking to him about what they'd like to do. And don't take my word on that, but that's what I've always understood to be the case because they don't have riders. So I think the Death Riders thing is still playing out before our eyes because I firmly believe the Death Riders thing started out on the expectation of somebody's coming and we're going to be answering to that guy or working with that guy, whether that guy was Shane or it was Bischoff or whoever. And no one's verified that with me, so that's not a scoop, okay? But that's just my thought, was that the whole thing felt like we were gearing towards something big, and now something big ain't happening, which tells me something changed. And they're having to pivot in the middle of this and redefine what all this is because it's not what we were told it was or suspected it was from the beginning. Does any of that make any sense? I would think the Hurt Syndicate's doing better in terms of it makes more sense and it's more cohesive versus this all or nothing NWO stuff that Mox is doing. I love Mox. And everybody in that group I love. You guys know this. Anytime I do anything that sounds like a criticism, it's never meant to be against the talent personally. It's never meant to say I don't enjoy matches. AEW has some of the best pro wrestling that I've seen in my lifetime. In my lifetime. That I've seen in New Japan and AEW, of course. But, it's the character work. It's the angles. It's the stuff that doesn't go anywhere. It's things that don't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into it. It'll make me nuts. Right? Why is Bandito getting that silly freaking vignette with these make-believe cowboys? Someone explain this to me. Where he's out in the like a tombstone or something. He's fighting with pro wrestling moves, these cowboys. One of your top stars is Hangman Adam Page, who wears a duster. I mean, or not, you know what I mean? Like the chaps or whatever. What are we doing here? So we got two cowboys? What is this? Bandito's an outlaw. Hangman Page is not a nice guy. That's just a small example of something that, like, if one guy does something, that guy should be the guy to do it. My opinion. You don't hand that to somebody else. But in that company, they don't care. You want to know why? Because that's not a professional wrestling company. I won't get back into it. It's not a professional wrestling company. They are a professional wrestling brand that is run as an independent professional wrestling company would be run. That's what they are. I have no hate toward anybody there. I have no reason to hate anybody there. I'm not going to stop watching. I watched it again today. I'm going to watch World's End. I'm going to watch the RH show next week. I'll watch Rampage and Coliseum. I'm not going to stop watching, but I know what I'm seeing. I know what bothers me about it. It is what it is, but I know what I'm seeing. It's not a pro wrestling company. Sorry. I mean, people can call it whatever they want. And anyone that tries to counter me can choose their hill to die on and fight me all day long on everything I'm saying that I'm dead wrong. I'm all right, cool. But see, your point is to shut me down. My point is not to shut you down or to rain misery and crap on AEW. I enjoy the product. But my point stands. I have a hard time with anybody that tries to look me in the eye, square up and say it's a professional. No, it's not. AEW is not a pro wrestling company. I'm tired of it. I'm sorry. It's just not. And guess what? It's fine that it's not. They just signed that TV deal. They're going to broadcast simultaneously on Max and on TNT, TBS. Dude, that's huge. That's huge. Anyone that tells you that's not huge is fooling themselves and lying to you. Okay? Well, what do I know, honestly? Robbie says, Viking Raiders, if they just wrestled as two plain guys with their own names, I think they would have gotten over more. They look like some of the silly 80s gimmick wrestlers like Repo Man. Of course I agree. By the way, shout out, rest in peace, Barry Darso. Is there any way to repackage them to get over with fans? No. Well, I can't say no. If there is a way, they don't care to find it, and they've already tried it. When they were War Machine, they were awesome. And you know, I just, and I know they can't use that. They're not going to use that. It's fine because they want to label everything and make money off of it, and it is what it is. But you know, I just, yeah. And I like them. They're a really good freaking tag team. But at this point in time, in my opinion, we should be mentioning these guys in the same breath as the all-time greats. And maybe some people are. Let's don't discount that fact and possibility. Maybe some people are. Are you one of them? Is anyone here one of them? When you have a discussion about the best tag teams today and of the past 10, 15 years, do you mention the War Raiders in your list? It's okay if you do. As I said, they're a really, really good tag team. But, you know, I think this stop and start with their gimmick hasn't helped them. I think 50-50 booking's never helped anybody on the planet ever. And I think if you really want to strap the rock to somebody, strap them, line them, go. But I don't know. Maybe everybody would disagree with that. Sugar Shane. Shane, have you been here the whole time? Have I missed your comments? Says, I think pro wrestling as a whole is in a slump. I got a real hard time arguing against that. Are you surprised, Shane? Usually I like to do point counterpoint, but I can't really argue that. You want to know why? Because the fan base, from everything that we see, and all we can do is base things on what we see. From what we see, the fan base isn't growing for the sport of professional wrestling, at least watching on TV. It's not growing. It's still very niche, all right? For better or worse, it is, okay? It is not the NBA. It is not the NFL. You know, look, college football fans may also watch the NFL. College basketball fans may also watch the NBA. NBA fans may also watch college basketball, and NFL fans may also watch college football. Pro wrestling fans watch pro wrestling. Now, that's not a blanket statement. Doesn't mean I'm right about everything I've ever said in my life. It doesn't mean that you can't mix over demographics and different tastes and backgrounds and age brackets and what you like to watch and male and female or whatever. None of that. I'm not making a statement on any of those things. All I'm saying is what I'm saying. And that is pro wrestling fans watch pro wrestling. I mean, I don't know the last time I bumped into someone. I'll go, hey, you still watch AEW or whatever, WWE? Nah, well, occasionally. Usually it's not, I gave it up. Or it's, oh yeah, I watch every week. Or it could be, I'd like to watch more, but there's just so much of it, I don't have time. That's another acceptable answer. But for people to say, I never watched all that much. Okay. Yeah, I guess anything's possible. But to me, I agree with you, Shane. I think it's in a slump. Do I miss the Highlanders from the mid 2000s? I don't know about miss. I think the gimmick was okay, but I don't know what. Fernandez says they ruined the Viking Raiders. I think they had a hand in it. David Down Under's watching on the YouTube. What's up, David? I am enjoying all companies. Wrestling is awesome. And you know what? Perfectly good attitude. Perfectly great opinion. Nothing wrong with that. I enjoy pro wrestling as well. I don't love every company, but I never wish any company ill will or any harm. I enjoy watching pro wrestling. I watch it. I can't say I watch it every day. There was a time in my life when I watched pro wrestling every single day. But talk to me when it's G1 Climax time in 2025. Right? But yeah, man. Yeah. How's the weather? Well, sandy in Germany. It's been cold here, but I suspect it may not. Well, no. Are we that far off on temps, you think? Right now, it's 48 degrees here, 46, excuse me, in the great state of North Carolina. Tonight, low of 26. Yowza. Yeah, sun's going down like 10 minutes in this freaking state, man. Yeah. I love Christmas. I love Thanksgiving time. I love the fall season. I do not like winter. Winter's coming in January. Winter can, in my opinion, can just come on in and get on out because I'm not a fan. I don't like being cold. I don't like shivering. I don't like being able to not feel my feet. We had a heat problem here in the office one day, like 2 days last week. I couldn't feel my feet, brother. I'm not kidding you. I'm like, I'm going home. I don't sit here anymore. I might set fire myself just to warm up. Yeah. Anyway. Well, kids, I think that's what we've got here for you today. Sorry for the rough start here today. Sandy says it's 35. Sandy, look it up for me. I don't do Celsius. There's a degree in difference between Celsius and Fahrenheit, and I can never remember what it is. It's like 15 or 20 degrees, maybe. Maybe not even that much. Maybe 10. Someone look that up for me. 35 degrees Celsius. I can do it. I just got a really loud keyboard. 5 degree. Oh. Oh, I see. I see, Sandy. My bad. You meant 35 Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Celsius. Gotcha. My apologies. Let's see. Well, look, we had one more question. We were going to go, but we got one more question here. Fernando says, what are your thoughts on the Ray Phoenix allegations? Well, here's what I'll tell you. There is no reason to believe that AEW is a perfect company. They've never done anything to make you believe that, nor has WWE, nor has any other company. Every company is run by humans, which means every company is going to be fallible, and every company is going to make mistakes. If you guys don't know what's going on, here's what's happening. So ever since Penta's contract with AEW expired earlier in the month, Ray Phoenix has ignited drama between himself and AEW with a series of now deleted tweets where he accused the promotion of inhumane treatment and ignoring his need for a doctor for months. Fightful reported that AEW reps have noticed that they were not going to comment on the situation. The company actually couldn't comment on medical claims even if they wanted to, which is true, right? Officials in AEW were said to be blindsided by Phoenix's tweets, despite the fact that the two sides have been plagued by communication issues and are not sitting on good terms. While not getting into specifics, one AEW source only heard about a situation where Phoenix took issue with a doctor who wasn't ready to clear him. Nobody who opined on the topic felt that AEW had done or not done anything that would be construed as inhumane. In my opinion, and keep in mind, this is the guy that doesn't know anything about what Phoenix has gone through or didn't go through, because it's not me doing it. In my opinion, this guy wants out of his contract. Do I believe that he would make things up in hopes that AEW would just cut him and let him go and not put time back on his contract and make him work there some more? I don't know if I believe that, because you know why? I don't know Ray Phoenix, the man, and I'm not making any accusations. If it is true that he didn't get medical attention when he needed it, it wouldn't be the first time we've heard that from a pro wrestling company. Just go ask CM Punk, because the company he went back to and now is making a ton of money with wouldn't give him medical treatment for a staph infection that could have potentially killed him. Okay, so those things happen. I'm not excusing it. And by the way, as I said, if it happened, if it indeed did happen the way he's describing, then shame on them, and something should absolutely be done about that. Absolutely be done about that, for sure. But I don't know the story because I'm not there and it's not me. And that's not me trying to get out of it. That's just me being real with you. Fernando said, all right, this is it, Fernando. You're going to take us home. Are you going to see Craven? I got a whole bunch of words that could go in front of the word no, but I will only say no. I'm not here for the Sony Spider-Man nonsense, knockoffs and side projects. I don't care about any of them. I just don't. Not today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. I don't care about the Venom movies. I don't care about any of that stuff. That's just me. You guys can enjoy what you want to enjoy. I don't wish anybody ill. It's just not for me. So there's your answer. There's your answer. Well, kids, we're going to get out of here. Rebecca, tune in next week. We'll have the Christmas episode. Don't miss it. We'll be back here a week from today. Well, folks, that's it for old Tom. I'm going to get out of here. I got a lot more work to do before I can start my weekend. I may not even be starting it then. We'll see. Thanks to everybody who has tuned in here today. Please and thank you. A big, strong, heavy, 5-fingered reminder to please check out boinkstudios.com. Please subscribe to us on YouTube at Boink Studios. Everything I've ever done in terms of video, at least for podcasting, is there. All the archives for Tom Clark's main event, all the way back to episode number 1, is there. Every episode of the 6M podcast, every episode. I thought I was going to get out of here without getting choked up. It was not to be. Every episode of Two Nations Under Ted Lasso podcast. By the way, if it happens live, it was meant to happen. It wasn't an accident. Don't forget that. Every episode I've ever done is there. Please go follow on the YouTube. Follow us on YouTube and visit boinkstudios.com. I'm getting out of here before I pass out. I appreciate you guys very much. Everybody have a great week. Get your Christmas shopping done and be right back here again next week, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Christmas episode. Bring your Santa hats for Tom Clark's main event. We appreciate it very much. Thanks, kids, very much. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week, folks.